Well, hello and welcome back to the Relationship Show. And last week we covered with Diane Valiquette, your relationship divorce recovery coach. She was talking about what happened when her daughter came home with her ex. And then she went into sort of everything she learned when she kind of woke up and panicked at that moment. But today what we're going to do is we're going to go and I'm going to talk with Diane and have her tell us more about her backstory and what kind of triggered that to the point that she altered her life path and became a specialist in the subject matter. So welcome to the show. This is Diane Valiquette, your divorce recovery coach, and coming from Ottawa, Canada, and she's going to tell us all about where she came from. Welcome, Diane.
Hi, Rebecca. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. So I'm going to tell you guys all about what? What am I going to do, Rebecca?
Well, I'm going to interview you a bit, first of all. Just give us, from what I know, I don't know everything, but you're from the Ottawa area?
Yeah, I am from the Ottawa Beacon Hill area, yes.
And you grew up, with a large family, a small family,
No, actually, what happened, so my past is my mom left my dad, and I was 5, my brother was 2, and my youngest brother was 18 months old, and so my mom in those days, so take 5, so I'm, 50 some years ago, separation, divorce really wasn't a thing. And my mom had the strength to leave. My dad was an alcoholic. She had the strength to leave him and raise 3 kids by herself in those times, which was not times that, it wasn't as common as today. So we were very much like the oddballs at school, and, not too many people would talk about separation or divorce at those times. A lot of the strength that I get was from what my mom was able to stand up for us and, leave an abusive relationship. I'm the oldest, and then I have a brother and then the youngest brother. So there's the 3 of us. There's a part of me that really wanted a career, and there's a part of me, of course, that was, longing to get married and have kids and so on. But I think what occurred is when you don't know yourself or you don't know the pain of what you're dealing with, and because I didn't have a relationship with my dad whatsoever, I didn't see him, I didn't really go visit him or anything like that. I was always kind of over responsible and the one that was making sure that my mom was okay and trying to help in any way, not housework or stuff like that. But just feeling a little bit on her side and being responsible for friends or for myself, or I just had that feeling. So my first important relationship lasted about I was about, I'm going to say 13, 14. And it lasted about 2.5 years. And then when we broke that up, I felt kind of really guilty for breaking it up because I knew he needed help and I knew he needed me and so on. But at that point, there's no way I could take that. And yet, ironically enough, the first significant relationship I went into, he needed me. I paid all his debts. I, helped him apply for jobs. I moved with him to Kingston to get for him to get into a better job. And I was always super, super over responsible in the relationship and felt that it was my job to make it happen for him and to make things happen for him. Yes, I married him, but then I left him for the father of my children. And it's actually really interesting because the father of my children came into my workplace. I was working at the prison for women at that time. And, there was a really big infatuation and physical attraction to him. And then I thought, what, he has a job, his head's on right, and everything's going to be really cool. So I leave the partner that I'm carrying and then to be with him. And you know what? It turned out to be the same old, is that he wasn't clear in his career. He didn't have a whole lot of money. He didn't have a place to live. So he moved in with me in my apartment. Again, I was in the caretaker mode, right? I was the one making things happen. Except with this one, I couldn't see it as much because I was a lot more infatuated. So I thought that I had an illusion of who I thought he was. So that was, the love of my life. And I had Tara, I had both my children in Kingston. And it's funny because I made a pact with him saying that, if we get married and we have children, you can never let me be a single parent. And I could never be, handle kids on my own. And I actually, this was a really big deal for me that I needed help. I was going to need support because I could never just be a stay-at-home mom. And I always would need my career. And he left for somebody else. So we owned a business, a printing business, and I was doing the books for him during my mat leave. And I was having a really hard time. Justine was really colicky, and it was just really difficult times for me. And because I wasn't there, I'm going to say he fell off the pedestal and he became a responsibility. So he found someone else to put him on a pedestal, and so he left for her. And I had a complete breakdown. At that point, my brothers came and packed me up, and I went and moved in with my parents. And it took me, I'm going to say, 2 years to even be okay. Like, I just couldn't handle that pain. I couldn't handle, looking at myself being a single parent, and it just collapsed. And what I come to learn today is that when we collapse from a breakdown in a relationship, it not only deals with the broken dream and the little white picket fence and the intact family, it also goes backwards to the wounds that you haven't dealt with, right? So your childhood wounds, let's call it, and it puts you in that state of psychosis. And until you can kind of reconcile what's happening, it takes time. It takes time to be able to do that.